ThunderTalk. I don't know if that means they're going to want to go towards something very, very aggressive right here, something that would get shut down quite badly by either just being able to be fist fought like a Gwen and a Ryze can, or just can get absorbed like the Galio can. More standard in terms of the bans right here out of Ultra Prime, and that's a lot of the best in-class champions just sort of taken straight off of the board. I wonder if as ThunderTalk you want to get yourself something just a bit standard in the mid lane right here. The Annie is something that we've seen banned away quite often. It was banned in the previous game, and that one is going to be locked in. That does now mean that your mid lane matchup is not necessarily going to be something that you can just outskill. I mean, if you get solo kill by Annie, it's because you stood too near her when she had full combo.
Yeah, that's it, right? It does give SeTab a bit more team fight agency. You mentioned how the one throne fight for TT was when he got caught on the flank trying to be the big team fight carry. Annie, it's just flash tippers, right? Flash tipper stun. But the mobility now is coming through for Ultra Prime. They've got themselves their own little wombo. We'll stick to, more circular shapes as the Aurora and Wukong come online for the mid-jungle duo.
I like the beginnings of this right here from Ultra Prime. I think the Wukong's in a really nice spot. The Aurora, a little bit more hit and miss. If you get ahead, oh boy, it's just miserable to try to play against. And has a pretty decent time right here into the Annie. The high mobility is going to be pretty important. And it will be a lot of threat onto 1xN once you get later on. Especially if 1xN is going to be the one highlighting this Senna. Well, you expect it to be, right? Senna support has really just disappeared and is. They are going to completely lock that one in right here for ThunderTalk. Now, in terms of champions I really associate with 1xN, this ain't it. And in terms of champions that I like in the meta right now, I don't know that this is it either particularly. Again, if we get late enough, maybe, but you've just signed yourself up for a really weak early laning phase.
Hey, everybody, can you figure out what type of 80 carries 1xN was playing in the offseason? Because I can. Super scalers. But, like we saw from Baiye, also subscribe to the super scaler meta. So we have the Sivir versus Senna, which get your pillows out if you like watching early game really intently on the bot side. It's going to be a snooze fest in this one.
Yeah, quite possibly. And I think that that's a nice read right here of Ultra Prime. I said that they were signing themselves up ThunderTalk for a very weak bot lane, but you can just pick into it and also decide, yeah, we'll sit back, we'll chill a little bit. The poke that can come through, though, is relatively high already from Ultra Prime, right? Those bounces can deal quite a lot of damage if you step up a little bit too close in the center, not massively long-ranged in the early stages of the game. We'll see what you want to pair it up alongside with. ThunderTalk right now banning out a lot more of these aggressive engaged supports, but you can also pair up this Sivir with something a little bit more in terms of just the enchanters, and enchanters, they're getting themselves back into the meta a little bit. It was all engaged supports previously. They are on the edges still. The Leona, it works so well along the Wukong if you want to go that way.
It's the classic non-committal engage, right? Both these supports bring non-committal engage to the table. A lot of it for ThunderTalk, actually, with the tippers and depth charge. But Ultra Prime really need that because when you go in with the Cyclone, you're going in. And, when you drop that between worlds, you're making it clear what's going down. So with that Solar Flare, XiaoXia can take hits. If you land it, you can go for the full combo. If you don't, it's got one of the quickest ultimate cooldowns in the game. How much further do these two teams want to index into team fighting and scaling? Because both teams' identities are pretty similar right now. And if we do see this locked in for Hoya, the Cassante coming across, he will just further indexing into getting 1xN online and letting these AP team fighters bring it home, especially if Aki locks in this Lilia, which I think would work pretty well with the composition they have together.
I would agree. I think that would probably give them some of the best chances they've got in team fights.
Please no. This is once again too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Usually I'm excited for Lee Sin gameplay. This is probably the least excited I am for Lee Sin lock in the LPL. I don't care if I'm D1 Hayden right now. This Lee Sin is not it.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that one. We'll think about that one in a second. Ultra Prime, they're going to round things out for themselves with the Gnar. And they do know what they want to do. They want a team fight right here. They want to front-to-back team fight. The only difference in that is going to be Saber potentially trying to look into the backline, see if he can catch out 1xN, see if he can catch out SeTab. But even then, you don't necessarily have to go jumping into the backline right here as this Aurora. You can just play it a little bit more front-to-back and use that between worlds as just a big, annoying damage and slow to stop people from being able to jump into your backline. A bit of an anti-engage tool, let's say. Ultra Prime, their composition makes a lot of sense overall. I like what they've got for themselves.
I do too.
ThunderTalk.
Is this I can, if you got a rant
Why?
for Lee Sin, I can get out of here. You got it.
Okay. Aki didn't even play this champion once during his split with Ninjas in Pajamas. He didn't even pick this champion up at a single point. He just didn't. And in this composition, you don't really have the lanes that you can particularly play around in this game either. So where are you stepping up to with this Lee Sin? Where are you actually going to get your advantage? This is kind of the same question that we had for him in the previous game with the Vi.
Deja vu.
Where do you go? What do you do?
You know, at least in this game, Lee Sin does have some pretty potent skirmishing early on if you want to go that route for Aki. But yeah, a bit of another head-scratching comp here from ThunderTalk as they continue to try and find a way to gel with their new jungler. Again, the hardest role to sub in so near to a split, especially the most critical split that is split 3. But if there's one champion that can shut up the doubters and just say, draft doesn't matter, it's some insect Lee Sin kicks and some wizardry on this champion in the early game. Does Aki have it in store? We'll have to find out because ThunderTalk are currently staring down an 0-4 game start and an 0-2 series start to Group Nirvana.
Losing this many games would be really, really bad. It's not the time to get yourself knocked down. Yes, you do get more games from Group Nirvana this time around than you did previously, but you still really need to pick yourself up at least one game right here. Tiebreakers are going to be based off of game scores, so every single win is going to matter. And you're absolutely right, Slayer. It's going to be a lot right here on Arky to see what he can do during the early game, because his lanes are not going to be winning in and of themselves.
No, and what I am really worried about and the advantage that Baiye is going to get pretty early on, we talk about how Senna and Saber are both very scale-oriented, but
yeah,
the main reason Senna's have to rush Static Shiv is this is one of the worst wave clear champions in the game, and Saber just deletes waves, like Cookie Monster deletes cookies.
And it's going to be really hard to push a lot of these waves, right? You've got a lot of anti-push coming through from the Ultra Prime squad, so later on into the game, absolutely, that's going to be a big problem for them, and it's going to be a decent problem for them at the early stages as well. But it's not the only compositional issue that you're going to be running into. Again, where are you trying to look right here as Arky?
Oh my god.
Aggressive.
The Zenith Blade and the Dredge Line were both thrown and hit at the same exact time under their counterparts. But it's actually going to be just one Summoner burned here, 1xN, making sure the stun doesn't land on that Zenith Blade. Baiye actually burning the barrier. Does give Ultra Prime at least control of the wave and control to get level 2 first, because the Senna just struggles to clear waves out. XiaoXia actually missed out on level 2 there with that Zenith Blade. He gets out of XP range, so he isn't able to land the stun next, but here we go, Bloxer. Like we talked about, Senna trying to clear a fat wave at level 1 is rough.
On the tower, it's just miserable, right? He's going to be able to get the majority of this CS. He should be fine, but if this keeps happening and it just gets worse and worse and worse, this is going to be pretty miserable. And this is the thing, right? You usually think about the Sivir as, oh, it's late game scaling, it's not going to have a good time early. Well, Senna's weaker than you are. You see this quite a lot where people make a little bit of a mistake in thinking that, oh, into the Sivir or into the Smolder, we could just pick ourselves the Senna because it'll be fine. And it's not. The Sivir is stronger. The Senna is easily one of the weakest laners that you've got, and with the Nautilus, that's committal engage with the hook. We talked about non-committal engage. Yes, there is non-committal engage on this support once you hit level 6, but pre-level 6, you'd better make damn sure that when you go in with this hook, this is the correct opportunity for you to go in. Really, both these supports want to be the second person to press their spells.
Very good point there. Bloxer is going to look at the jungle pathing and what it kind of means for the early game agency of both of these teams. Junhao, top to bot, going to try and cover this bottom lane as he expected them to have pusher. And maybe look to get a bit more aggressive here, get some wards down for that dragon that does spawn first. Both Crab's going to be traded here as Aki has gone bot to top, and he does have a gank angle with this Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Towards the mid lane he's looking. I figured top lane would have been a better target, because Saber is more than safe, especially with SeTab burning that stun early.
I'd love to know if he was just about spotted out there. He should have been, and that should be some nice information. It allows Yang to keep stepping up, nearly gets himself that first turret plate, doesn't quite grab it. Still, another hook in from Feather, and it just doesn't matter. You're just going to keep the pressure up at this point. The only point at which you have to stop pushing.
Oh,
hang on.
Gets sniped by the Zenith Blade. Bend it like Beckham, XiaoXia must subscribe to with the way that one went wide, and it's more farming under turret, which, to the credit of 1xN, he's actually doing a pretty darn good job at it.
Yeah, he's not falling anywhere near as far behind as you could otherwise with this center. It is tough to farm on this champion underneath the tower, as you said. Still, mana is run out of by Baiye. That is going to stop his push. He is going to have to head back to base. It's also going to be the reset out of the bottom lane for ThunderTalk, just looking to even things up for themselves just a little bit. Still, the lane states it's winning top lane, it's winning bot lane right here for Ultra Prime, but that doesn't really expose them to the ganks too much early on. Arky, right now, just hasn't been able to find an angle to get in. Usually, when I see a Wukong on my screen, I talk about him needing to get ahead, but into the Lee Sin, you're absolutely fine to just not worry about it too much. You're the better team fighter here.
Both junglers setting up around the same spot as Feather. Also looking to go in. There's the flash down from SeTab into the dredge line. Look how the CC's layered beautifully, and Saber's going to fall and burns his flash on the way out. That's the same great layering of CC we saw TT start with in game number 1.
There we go, ThunderTalk. Hey, we talked about it, right? The only way in which there are kills in this mid lane is if somebody steps a little bit too far up when you've got the stun available on SeTab, and he proves that right there. As you said, good layering of the CC is going to result in that early kill going over to Arky, and that's exactly what he needs. He needs to get this champion ahead as quickly as possible. Now, the lane swaps have come through from the bot lane of ThunderTalk. That does leave Hoya in another miserable lane, but to be honest, he doesn't get a nice one of those. But it does open up a potential dive right here for Jiang, and he does not have a rage bar to play with.
No rage bar, no friends, and a whole lot of comeuppance coming his way. Tibbers dropped, another great stun from SeTab. It may be easy, but the results are coming through for this Andy so far as you see Hoya going to the all-out. Unite going to drop over there as he's jockeying just to get control of his wave, but ThunderTalk winning on the other side of the map nonetheless.
And this is exactly what we need to see from ThunderTalk. Find the angles. We talked about where are you going to find those gank angles. Well, he knows. He was aware of where he needed to get to. Makes the play work in the mid lane, makes the play work topside as well, and that's now 2 kills into his back pocket. It does, of course, open up this Drake to go over to Ultra Prime. They very much need it. It's just going to be a Chemtech, though. Nothing too much right now. Drake stacking could be something for Ultra Prime to play around, though.
Good to see the Ultra Prime are not panicking, and they're just cross-mapping accordingly, recognizing, hey, we've got to drop these kills. Zhang, you're in a tough spot. We didn't catch that. Rotate top to bot. It's all right. We're still stable playing for those neutral objectives. Next one coming up is going to be those grubs under a minute, and we'll see both bottom lanes return back towards that top side. See if any major item breaks can come through here. Like you mentioned with Aki, he's going to take a reset here and come away with a Tunneler and a Warhammer advantage. So that Lee Sin really going to be able to one-shot any target he can get on Ultra Prime right now if a fight breaks out.
Absolutely, and it's not like he has to do it all himself during these team fights. You've got yourself the Nautilus, you've got yourself the Cassante. Those are champions that can start fights up. Of course, anytime you've got Flash Tibbers out of SeTab, that's another angle. So this ThunderTalk composition, as much as it's a bit odd still, right, it makes a little bit more overall sense than their composition in the previous game did, but more importantly than that, they're just playing it early on a little bit better for themselves. Still, Ultra Prime, they're not going to be too mad about the way that this early game has gone. They're only down by about 1,000 gold, not the end of the world. And with this grub spawn coming in just a couple of seconds time, you can see Ultra Prime moving multiple members up to the area. Top laners are both sat bot lane right now, and neither of them have teleport.
I do like prioritizing these grubs. We talked about how much team fighting these two comps really want to sing through, but again, the wave clear advantage here for Ultra Prime, the siege ability, if they can get these 3 grubs, it really plays in. Take a look at the bottom of the screen here. XiaoXia on the flank, doesn't have the solar flare. Junhao going to get hit with the resonating strike, and there goes down the cycle between worlds, but SeTab is sectioned off and cut down. Just like that, the flank explodes, and TT are left dizzy trying to figure out where SeTab went and where the grubs go next.
XiaoXia with the gorgeous flank right there. He played the long con on that one, managed to sneak his way in behind the enemy lines, and I hope that we get a replay of that one because the Flash Zenith Blade to confirm that kill was really, really nice. Ultra Prime, they get themselves all 3 of those grubs, that first Drake as well, and again, objective falling over to Ultra Prime.
Now Ultra Prime have got some more confidence back, and we talked about from the draft, simplistic execution of ideology, this team fight front-to-back composition. Now with those grubs and the gold even back out, they can kind of just settle into their lanes and get those waves pushing to no end.
Absolutely. The compositions that they've been playing for themselves in this series so far have been just very standard, very easy to execute, and it's making these flashy plays that much more exciting, right? Because you can get away as Ultra Prime with just sitting in front of your enemies and hoping that Baiye can sit and hit and do the damage. Same thing with Jiang. But at the same time, if XiaoXia wants to find that massive flank and instantly kill the Annie, well, that then opens up your carries to not worry about getting one-tapped by the Tibbers. It's really nice play from them so far. Obviously, we're still very early on in this game. Plenty more League of Legends to play. Once again, it's worth mentioning that for ThunderTalk, winning here is going to be critical. You really don't want to start 0-2. That's such a rough space to be in.
Especially knowing that you still have to play, against NIP. We really feel like they're the big bag of Group Nirvana twice, a team that they struggle to really beat consistently in the Rumble stage of Group Ascend Split 2. A lot riding early on here for the new edition of ThunderTalk, led by Aki, who, for now, is the only one on the map, alongside the Senna, actually, with their first item complete with that Conqueror, one of the strongest first item power spikes you can get in League right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's sat in a very, very strong spot with that Sundered Sky, and if he just wants to step up to somebody, he can go toe-to-toe with practically anybody right now, 1v1 especially, but even looking for those flanks, you've got that extra level of healing. And we saw the problem in the previous game with the Vi, where when you get yourself that Sundered Sky, you've got to be hitting people, but the Vi is very much just trying to one-tap somebody with the ulti, burst out somebody with the team, and it just wasn't working out. In this game right here with the Lee Sin, you are expecting Aki to have a little bit more success actually getting a few of those heals off, getting that big bit of damage going. That should make it that much easier to play out. Junhao gonna step up to the top lane a little bit. Hoya constantly getting poked out. He's not had a nice time of it in any of these lanes. He's constantly getting poked down. But to be honest, he's been able to keep himself relatively healthy. And even in CS so far, it's been nice out of Hoya. This is what we hope from the ThunderTalk top laner.
In a comfortable spot. TT still clinging to that gold lead. You got both SeTab and Aki in that prime spot. The mid-jungle duo, the Vi Ari, didn't get enough out of it this time round. Have a lot more agency in those team fights. Set up this next Drake to spawn, but the top laners are playing Ultimate Chicken. As down goes the all-out, but Hoya was not expecting Junhao to be waiting off to the wayside. He's running back towards the turret, but guess what? It's not his turret. Junhao is going to section him off and bap him down with the staff. Sooner or later, no matter how many shields or dashes this Kasate gets, he gets a house thrown to his forehead. Down goes Hoya, but Aki finds a trade as the cross-mapping continues in this game too.
Yeah, it's just going to be the Drake for the kill, but still, this is tons of plates going over to Jiang. They're going to be able to pick up this full tower right now, I think, and yeah, that's a big wave to be losing out on. This is a big objective to lose out on here as well. And actually, because we haven't had anybody pick up all of the kills right now, next kill is going to secure the feats right here for Ultra Prime if they're able to get it.
Aki's trying to continue that cross-mapping pressure, but the pushing power of Ascena is just not there with 0 grubs in the pocket of ThunderTalk. We talked about it constantly. The wave pressure Ultra Prime bringing it, it's already bearing fruit as that first turret's picked up, but TT want to look for the dive here with Aki's power and SeTab swinging over. There is the on the hunt pop, but there's a great kick into the resonating straight. Aki, great job sectioning off Baiye and saying bye-bye, sending him back to the fountain.
Hey Slayer, we were pretty critical of the Aki Lee Sin. We hadn't seen it at all from him over on Ninjas in Pajamas in split number 2, and we didn't know what he was going to be able to do, but so far, so good. I really like that kick as well, because it pushes people away from the arriving members of Ultra Prime, right? Saber and Junhao are sprinting down to this bottom side of the map, and if they actually manage to arrive, all of a sudden that dive goes very, very wrong, but you push Baiye away, it puts you into a really nice spot to be able to just pick up that kill and walk it on out. And that right there is at least going to stop the feats of warfare from going over to Ultra Prime. It's now going to be down to these objectives, and it's always pretty exciting.
Who can grab that feats of strength here for that big boot upgrade that all teams hunt for, but also who can find that first big strike in these team fights as we continue to wait for these safety carries to try and scale on up. We've got a Cole on Baiye. 1xN approaching the 40 stack mark, so still a ways away from either of these marksmen having a profound impact on the game. So it leaves the top side the priority here. We gotta see continuously what these wave states look like, because
Yeah.
while it's, you know, gold that you can churn, the bigger thing is map pressure that it's going to likely allocate for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, at this point, you just have got to play around these wave states pretty aggressively, I think, for ThunderTalk, right? Late into the game. Yeah, your Senna gets online, but that's the point where the Civ is also going to be really hitting, and you really don't want to allow Baiye to get to his best point in this game so far, so some aggressive plays is what I'd be looking for out of ThunderTalk. They're now going to be sat around this Herald. Pretty much everybody in the game, other than top laners, is going to be around that point. Critically, though, Jiang does not have the teleport available to him, neither does Saber, whereas Hoya does. So you can have a little bit of a numbers advantage here for ThunderTalk.
We look to start up the Herald. I think we're going to spot it out, though. For right now, Ultra Prime do have the numbers here, 4 strong.
Yeah.
And they have their own team fight tools with this Wukong, Junhao, and that non-committal Solar Flare. We'll see if either come out. As Shelly gets a bit angry that nobody's paying attention to her anymore. And we jockey back over the mid waves. So no Herald so far, but control of the river for Ultra Prime.
I like the aggression right here that Jiang is putting down. Yeah, he doesn't have the teleport, but he's just pushing forwards constantly, not allowing Hoya to really step up into a situation where he can actually go and teleport away, where he can go and get involved with the rest of this fight, and the tower's even getting relatively low as well. Oh, good cancel on the ulti.
Unstoppable, yeah. He's going to look for the all-out back towards his turret as John goes into the mini-gnar for him. No. That means Hoya's going to start getting a lot more harassed. Those top laners chunking their health bars down slowly, and it's still fight over the mid-wave here in the 4-on-4. SeTab going to burn his stun onto XiaoXia, so he's going to have to charge that one back up as Aki returns his attention towards the Herald. TT a bit split, and they got to be careful doing that, knowing that Junhao can pop out from that Trickster with a Cyclone at any point. But Ultra Prime content cross-mapping once again, willing to secede this Herald for more turrets knocked down.
And I think that's perfectly reasonable, right? Trading the Rift Herald for a tower is a good play, conditional on the fact that you use the Rift Herald to get more than just a tower for yourselves. And that can be tricky, right? Finding the actual good time to try to push into a very good anti-push team from Ultra Prime is not a sure thing. It's not guaranteed that you're going to get a lot of use out of this Rift Herald. So Ultra Prime, I'm happy enough with the way that that one was played out. The thing I'm not loving at the moment is the fact that nobody's touched top wave in the last 5 straight minutes. That's a lot of dropped waves for both of these squads, and right now there's a ton of CS and XP just dying to a tower top lane right here.
We'll see if that bot tier 1 turret, you can see the further plan Ultra Prime had, trying to get control of this next dragon. But like you called out, that means the TT can move the next chess piece and drop the Herald mid. Dredgeline gonna land here for Feather. They're on to XiaoXia. Does flash back. Senna Slayer gonna land, but that's a lot used just to get XiaoXia out of the fight. But it's enough to get TT control of the Drake Pit. Herald gonna crash into the mid tier 1 turret. Doesn't knock it down, but gives Aki the attention onto this dragon. Neither AD carry moving over, so it's not gonna be a quick Drake take, and it is on vision. Do Ultra Prime want to step up here? Dredgeline gonna go wide from Feather, but Ultra Prime, there's just no way into this river. You've got Jiyoung on the back end of this, trying to stack up the Gnar bar, but he's gotta be careful. All of TT can just barrel down onto him. And they're going to have to give up this dragon. The Solar Flare's not going to find a stun. XiaoXia's trying to find a flank, but this time it falls completely flat. Instead, Tibbers throws down the gauntlet. XiaoXia down first. Hoya pulls one member into the pit. Jiyoung trying to fight his way out. Hoya's going to have to actually flash out of the pit as this fight starts to get messier and messier. Saber and SeTab in their own 1v1. Junhao going to fly in with the Cyclone, but it doesn't find any big mark.
There it is.
Jiyoung to get the Gnar ultimate. SeTab is slapped down just like that. Aki goes in, quickly goes his way back out, jumping towards his teammate. Dredgeline not going to allow Junhao the clutch flash. Health bars blinking all over the place, but nobody willing to step up. Nothing engage-wise to commit, and everyone's just gonna walk away.
Oh my lord, Yang, you could see that entire fight. He was angling for the big ulti. He finally finds an insta-cleanse out of 1xN to keep him alive, but it at least gets the kill over. This is such a split fight, right? Jiang's on the massive flank by himself with the Dragon Pit. You've then also got XiaoXia just dying in the backline already. That was a big flank from him. He found a big flank earlier on that didn't work out. And now at this point, watch Jiang. It's genuinely hilarious watching him look for that Gnar. Every second he's like, oh, I'm going to find it here on Taki. No, I'm going to find it here on Feather. No, nope, it's here. There we go.
Both carries.
It's nice. It's nice that he gets both carries here, but he was just looking. Hang on. Okay, when we jumped out halfway through that team fight, I was worried we were going to jump straight into another one. That's not going to be the case. ThunderTalk, they did get the Drake in and amongst all of that craziness, so hey, that's something.
They do succeed the gold lead, though. Ultraprime pick up some of those critical kills, but like you were pointing out so well, Bloxer, feats of strength go over to ThunderTalk as they grabbed the latest neutral objective on that one. So
nice.
Small little margins keep this game tightly compact, and that means we have to look back in on these scaling 80 carries, both of them reaching 2 items on their own. Still not at that point where they can be the win con of games.
Yeah.
But what's the real win con of games right now to look forward to, Bloxer? Otacon has hit the rift on that top side, and Aki looking for a padded Lee Sin flank, and Baiye's going to walk right into the brush. Dredge line down, the spell shield will not save you. Saber set back down to the fountain. The Aki Lee Sin continues to be productive.
It's looking so good, 3-0-1 right now, and that should open up the Atakan right here for ThunderTalk. Now, do you want to try play this one out? There's no teleport from Jiang, so you won't even be able to roam your top lane up towards this one. Looks like the answer is just going to be no. It's just going to be pressure in the bot lane from Jiang. Some pressure onto the mid lane tower as well right now from Saber. I mean, if they do lose out onto this mid lane tier 1, and you've got all of this pressure going on in the bottom lane, it's not the biggest win right here for ThunderTalk. Still, they're able to get the pick, which you needed. And the Atakan is going to be nice, especially as they get themselves a little bit more of those CS leads. SeTab also picking up that top lane tier 1 tower. And these plays, they're just all so back and forth, but that pick really, really well done onto Baiye. If Aki can keep finding picks like that, then it doesn't matter that the team fight potential of the Lee Sin is nowhere near as big. Who cares?
That's always the fun part about Lee Sin and why so many are excited when this champion gets locked in. Bucks all the trends of draft synergy, ability to have big moments in later fights. If you get those clutch kicks, find those carry targets, all of that just becomes noise. I will say for Ultra Prime, I'm impressed as a team macroly how they approach cross-mapping, understanding some things they're going to have to give, what can they get on the trade, right? Even that Otacon, which feels like a death sentence to give over to in a lot of games. They pick up a mid-tier 1 turret, and they quietly have a lot more of the map open to them to try and set up aggressive vision.
Absolutely, they do, and that's going to make it so much easier to try to play around these objectives. Less than a minute now until we're going to have this next Drake spawning. And I got to be honest, the center team being able to pick up a Cloud Soul, that would be huge, right? I think both of these teams would quite like it for themselves, but Ultra Prime would be able to use it so effectively. ThunderTalk, they're going to have to work hard to prevent that. You can see right now, stepping up, they've actually got full control of the vision at the moment, although they haven't quite been able to sweep out all of the vision. That one ward right here in the river for Ultra Prime is going to be critical for them.
That one ward is
so
surrounded by
close. Yeah.
That's crazy. Is highlighting that there's so much vision around it, and it's getting all the information Ultra Prime needs to not walk their way into a treacherous river. Just buying more space for Jiang to try and get more pressure onto these tier 2 turrets. But Hoya has been standing firm. Tier 2 turrets are pretty valuable to give up. But we're seeing a lot of push and pull on the map from both of these teams.
Feel it. It's tense right now.
Oh my god, XiaoXia, there he goes. Flashes, Zenith Blade, immediate cleanse. What I said does not eat the Solar Flare stun, so they get the stun out. Junhao goes next, the Flash Cyclone down, but again, doesn't get to save down. Guess who does? Saber does. Between worlds, Zhang tries to get himself out. Aki gonna flash after him, gets the kick, gets the Sonic Wave, and now Baiye is sectioned off. Oh, Ultra Prime, they went all out to kill SeTab, and it scatters them all over the river, and TT capitalize.
And they forget that SeTab really isn't the big carry of this game. Not right now. That would be Aki. Picks himself up another kill in that one, and it is going to be the Drake. That's now going to be sole point right here for ThunderTalk, and they are looking to send us to a game number 3.
Cloud Soul Point, starting to get more control of the map here. ThunderTalk with a very good answer back, and this time you can see the difference. It's a similar game plan, early game oriented Aki jungler. But when he gets ahead, makes plays like this, and he gives 1xN more space to scale into Exodia.
You highlight it gorgeously in this fight, Slayer. SeTab, he's the Tug. Everybody jumps onto him, and it makes sense for Saber to go all in onto SeTab, but you can't abandon Baiye and Jiang and XiaoXia like this. They just get left behind, and there's no way for these champions to be able to get out. Baiye only just about manages to scramble away. These split team fights don't work. You need to front to back it a little bit more, and it just is not working out for them right now. And this is rough. This is really rough to see during these early stages of the game right here for Ultra Prime. Now, the one thing you do have to bear in mind, right, is imagine a lot of these team fights, especially the previous one, not so much this one that we just watched, but especially the previous one, where Baiye isn't just sat on an Essence Reaver, or isn't just sat on the Essence Reaver Flicker Blade, actually has a couple of big damage items in the back pocket. That's where these team fights are going to start looking much better for them. The problem is that Ultra Prime is putting themselves in a hole before they even get there.
Aki's just going all damage with his build, but look who's getting picked off again. It's SeTab, but there's not an angle for Saber to go all in, so XiaoXia drops the full Leona combo and gets dropped back towards the gray screen. Just no angle for Saber to follow up on that play. This time SeTab survives, and they still find themselves a good pick in the name of ThunderTalk.
Really, really nice plays from ThunderTalk once again. Aki now going to start up the Baron right here. There's not going to be any vision of it whatsoever. I mean, they are in complete control of this game. They've also got Hoya sprinting his way up towards the top side. Now, we saw some crazy steals last time around. Last time it was Aki doing it. Let's see if Junhao has it in his back pocket as well.
Junhao does not have flash, but he has the trickster to get over the wall. Hoya has Saber sectioned off. He has his own flash, and it's going to have to be traded. His Feather throws the dredge line down to chase him away. Saber able to get all of ThunderTalk off of that Baron. The mid-tier 1 turret is under siege here. Junhao going to commit the Cyclone defensively. SeTab once again the target, but again, the shields get him out. There's enough of a tanky front line. On the hunt popped as Baiye is trying to throw down all the damage. Those Flicker Blades dancing all over the TT health bars. And finally, Ultra Prime able to comfortably front to back and not find kills, but find pressure.
It's not a crazy flank angle that Ultra Prime go for. They go for the just simple, standard, allow Baiye to sit and hit, and that's what can start happening. And this is even before he hits that 3-4 item spike rate. He's still only got himself a Last Whisper sat in inventory in terms of being able to do that real damage. But like you said, Flicker Blade beginning to make it work as well. And ThunderTalk, that's worrying, right? That's worrying that you're not winning out onto this team fight a little bit harder, but to be fair, it is a great engage right here to start things off by Junhao.
Just gotta think, what does this look like if they have all their ultimates synced?
Yeah.
Jian doesn't get a Nart ultimate here. They didn't have Between Worlds. They get all that value out of basically a Wukong. Cyclone is, the Aki show continues to thrill here. We go back to live, and he's completely blown up Saber. 6-0-2 on this full damage Lee Sin, and now Aki wants a date with the Baron Nashor once more.
And this time around, you've got significantly less to try to play about to make this one happen. Junhao going to get jumped right here, turns around. Is going to be able to get away, of course, but he's now not going to have anywhere near as much to get back into the pit. Interesting that ThunderTalk actually decide to not keep pressure onto this one, but this is what they can do, right, when they've got themselves this kind of advantage in the game. You can just keep starting this one up, drawing the members of Ultra Prime in, and hoping that you can keep getting picks on Saber, onto Baiye, and just make it so tricky to play out these team fights.
Picture showing a flash kick Sonic Wave. Aki. Where was this Lee Sin in Split 2? It is looking marvelous, the plays he's able to make so far, but again, Baron woes have been a thing for both of these teams. They can't really decide if they want to fight to keep Junhao out of the pit. They leave Aki alone to try and solo the Baron. Maybe the Baron does at least keep Ultra Prime off of these side waves that are pushing against them, but gotta make sure you're all on the same page when you go for the dance with the Purple Worm.
Absolutely. This is a place where we've seen a lot of teams throw away games, and as we've talked about, right, both of these teams sat near the bottom of Group Nirvana. They know how to make mistakes, but so far, so good. There's going to be another tower picked up by ThunderTalk. They've now evened up that tower advantage that Ultra Prime had worked so hard for during the early stages of the game. Next Drake is going to spawn, and this is going to be Soul right here. Where's the engage from Ultra Prime? Can they play this one out in a simple front-to-back style, or will they not even be allowed to step up?
Well, it starts with getting Jian onto that Meganar, but his Narbar is nowhere close to completed, so you don't have that big team fight ultimate. It's going to have to be the Cyclone. XiaoXia eats a Dredge line, but he's going to be fine here. The Dragon down below 3K. We're going to have another 50-50. Solar Flare hits big, but the smite comes through for Aki. Cloud Soul down for TT, and now Jiyoung has to get out of the fight. Hoya holding strong on the front line as the Cyclone goes completely deaf ears. Junhao has no ability to find carries, flashes out with the Trickster, the Blast Cone, all can save him, but Aki is hunting. The Sonic Wave falls just a bit short, but TT accomplished their goal once again. Cloud Soul for the rest of game 2.
And now they can push through this mid wave, open up this mid lane tier 2 tower, and just keep the pressure going if they want to, or pull back towards this Baron, get themselves a ton more vision around this key objective. And ThunderTalk, we've been talking about this from the very beginning of the year, all the way up until this point. They're a good team fighting team. They know how to make team fights work, but so far it's been Aki stepping up on this Lee Sin that's really been making it work for them. And this team fight, it is the sort of front to back you're kind of looking for, but Saber never manages to get in. Baiye is spending most of this fight running away from a Tibbers and not actually being able to deal damage, and it means that there's just nothing you can really try to play around as Ultra Prime. ThunderTalk, they've got this game on lock at the moment. It is very much their game to lose.
Now they just zip around the map and can constantly get wave states in their favor. The big worry of their comp into an Aurora, a Sivir, and a Gnar. They've got complete control, and the next big target that really will sing home their first game win of Split 3 is that same Baron dance from game 1 that we saw Aki himself steal to try and delay a loss on. Does Junhao have the same thing in the cards here? Because it's really what Ultra Prime need. They still just need time to have enough damage to go for these front to backs. There's just not enough available towards this Aurora, towards this Sivir just yet.
And the Sivir really going to need another item right here. You know, you're getting there. Well, Doms is nice, but still nowhere near good enough for the damage right now. And it doesn't even matter how much damage you have in your back pocket as Baiye if you're never allowed to just deal the damage. And that's why this Annie has been so impactful in this game, right? Even if you're not actually one-tapping people, the threat of being able to just one-tap either of the big carries who step up is causing Ultra Prime to play these team fights so much more reserved, and it's not allowing them to do any of the damage that they need to.
Oh, Sleeping Giant. SeTab has the stun, Tibbers available, no flash, but like you called out, been marking Baiye this whole game. Ultra Prime have no idea where this Baron is at.
There they go.
But it's Aki that's going to come after them. They get the Timber stun down onto 2. They layer the CC beautifully. XiaoXia blown up. Jiyoung cannot get it. He's not even Meganar because it's just Aki running wild in the backline. Ultra Prime are crumbling to the might of ThunderTalk. No kills to be traded back. TT snap back from game 1 with a vengeance and an ace home to send this game and this series to the 3.
There's going to be 40 seconds until any of the big members for ThunderTalk have to worry. Ultra Prime going to lose this game. Like I said, it's going to be a game number 3. And it was control for ThunderTalk from the very beginning to the very end of this one. Ultra Prime, they could just never get involved. And we had questions, Slayer. We had so many questions about what the Aki Lee Sin was going to look like. But hey, it looks great in this game. He cruises to a victory for his team. Game number 3.
A deathless Lee Sin performance. Aki answers the call, silence the doubters. It shows why ThunderTalk chose him as their Split 3 jungler. We are tied 1 apiece.
And this is really, really interesting to see right here out of ThunderTalk, because this is a departure from what we would have wanted from this team and what we expected this team to play around. When you bring Aki in, you don't think that he's going to be the big carry guy. I mean, he wasn't really able to play like that on Ninjas in Pyjamas. It's not really been the way that ThunderTalk have found victory in the past. When they had Bechuan, they looked best when he was on the Skarner, when he was on the Sejuani, when they just had something tanky that could set up the main carry of 1xN. I think 1xN ended that game with 1 kill, 0 deaths, and 12 assists. I mean, like, bro was a support center all the way through in all but name. But it works. It works right there because you've got the big damage coming through from SeTab in the mid lane. And more than that, Aki is just feeling himself right here on the Lee Sin.
Confidence pick, and boy, did it not disappoint.
Yeah.
Playmaking from early game, making confident calls later on. You know, I was worried about how they juggle Baron. That last fight was perfect. You could see the trap they were setting. Aki knew that Ultra Prime had vision of him starting the Baron, baiting them in, setting up SeTab for another clutch tippers. You know, we talk about how we want to see both these teams execute from draft simplistically. Yeah. Well, sometimes you don't need a cohesive draft. You just need to have the right game plan and the confidence to execute it. And Aki did just that here for ThunderTalk.
And there's questions, right, about ThunderTalk, of course, but when this team does get a game going, even now with Aki apparently, they're fun. They're really, really fun to watch in the just very aggressive, scrappy style that they like to play around. And it felt like in this game, pretty much everybody was firing on all cylinders for ThunderTalk. Again, it wasn't like SeTab was picking up that many big kills, but just the threat. The threat of the Annie was so much that it meant you couldn't step up as Ultra Prime. For Ultra Prime, they decide to index into something that goes late game alongside that Senna rather than trying to punish it massively in lane, and it just never quite works out because of the Annie. You're never able to really step up as Baiye and deal the damage that you need to, but it felt like nobody from Ultra Prime was really able to find their moments.
No, they could never get the front-to-back fight they wanted. They didn't have comfortability on their carries, like you're calling out. And Bloxer, you know, one of the biggest question I think we asked both these teams was finding an identity to get consistent wins. Yeah. I've got a feeling that this may be the recipe for ThunderTalk. You talked about Aki, you know, the confidence thing, confident Lee Sin is one thing, but I like how they kind of spread out the facilitator duties here. You've got a Nautilus, you let SeTab bring, you know, a big stun to team fights, and then you have Aki on a Lee Sin. Yeah. Along with Hoya weak-siding a tank where he never really gave up much of a deficit. Does this feel like the way that TT might be able to get wins here in Nirvana going forward?
It's risky, right? This is a very high variance playstyle because if your Lee Sin doesn't get a couple of kills early, this game's done, right? We're talking about the next series already. We're thinking about Ninjas in Pajamas LNG. But because you're able to get yourself that big advantage early on, it just looks so nice from ThunderTalk. But hey, high variance isn't necessarily a bad thing, as much as we have been talking about how for these Group Nirvana teams, play standard, front to back, make it work, don't have too high a barrier for execution. That can make sense, that can be a way to play, but if you want to just send it each game and really try to play around a jungler that they brought in, right? They clearly believe in at least enough to bring him in when they had someone who was doing decently for them after Baitron had left, right? He was fine. I like it. I like the way that they played in this game. I just worry that it's not massively replicable going on forwards. I mean, obviously you can't grab the Lee Sin again in this game, but there's lots of very aggressive junglers. It's just surprising to see. Aki really didn't show this to us when he was on NIP.
Yeah, he had this. This was like deep in the bag, and NIP as a team, there's definitely there was a lot more pressure, right? Because of how they performed in Split 1. They had Doinby, the Split 1 MVP. Expectations of the playoffs fell flat. Split 2, you know, added a big international tournament with the mid-season invitational, and it kind of felt like the pressure got to them. And the one thing Aki does gain coming onto ThunderTalk, coming into Group Nirvana, expectations are low, so you can kind of just settle into how you want to play a game of League. Yeah, just relax. Yeah,
I mean, we haven't gotten any confirmation or anything about what being at the bottom does to teams here in Group Nirvana. Obviously, in Split 2, it meant that you didn't get to play Split 3, so you were not chilling at the bottom of Group Nirvana at all. That was a very rough situation to be in. RIP to the two teams that we ended up losing. Goodbye, RNG. But this time around, we don't think that anything really happens to you if you are at the bottom, so it gives you that little bit of extra freedom, again, to help develop people. For ThunderTalk, one of the most important things is going to be the fact that, once again, 1xM was the highest damage, even on the Senna that was, you know, not having the best early game. He's looking really strong for them. It's going to be exciting to see what these teams can do, and I love that we get a game number 3 out of these two.
Yep, so we go the full distance with Fearless, take all these unique champions off the board. Mainly all these scaling AD carries are about to fall off the cliff here. So that's going to be an interesting spot. Maybe we'll get more aggressive bottom lanes. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, though, Bloxer, I think we owe Aki an apology, and I think he's just got to be player of the game, right? We'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There we go.
All the way. All the way. We were really not sure about this one when it was locked in, and for good reason, right? He's not shown it to us before. He's not usually this big carry player for his squads, and ThunderTalk had not looked like what they needed was more jungle pressure. What they looked like they needed was more 1xn support, but hey, the support in terms of the Lee Sin just going and killing the backline threats, that works too. Really nice play from him, and it makes me really excited to see what they do in game number 3. Do they go back to a little bit more of a supportive style, or hey, do you just want to send it on something else aggressive?
We'll have to see. For now, we can all appreciate that in the Wild Wild West that is LPL Junglers, Aki and his new team, he has found himself his first MVP performance, keeping TT alive in this series. Rubber match coming after another break to see who can get their first series win in Group Nirvana, ThunderTalk or Ultra Prime. We'll find out after a few minutes.